Before your hand reaches for the ticket, pause, not in hesitation, but in awareness. In that quiet space between desire and action, speak this silently, not with your lips, but with your being. It is already mine. I hold the winning ticket. My world reflects it now. Say it, not as a hope, but as a fact. Not because you want it, but because you are it. You are not chasing numbers. You are aligning with certainty. You see, the outer world is only a mirror, a delayed reflection of your deepest self-talk. What you whisper inwardly becomes the thunderous applause of your life. This is not superstition. This is law. Do not beg life for wealth. Assume it. Do not wish for fortune. Embody it. Do not pray for chance. Speak as the winner. Do not say, I hope I win. Say, I remember when I wasn't this wealthy. What a journey it has been. Do not approach the counter with trembling hands. Walk as though the universe already placed that ticket in your hand. This moment, before you purchase, is the sacred moment, the womb of creation. Do not pollute it with doubt. Seed it with truth. Say it again, silently. I have already won. My reality now confirms it. And then release it. Let the seed go. Don't obsess. Don't dig it up to check if it's growing. Walk away as one who no longer needs the miracle, because you are the miracle. The world responds not to effort, but to assumption, not to desperation, but to embodiment. So say this silently, say it with conviction, and say it before you buy the lottery, because that quiet declaration may echo louder than any number ever called. Imagination is not a passive daydream or an idle escape. It is the creative act itself. When you imagine something vividly and persistently, you are not merely entertaining a fantasy. You are giving form to something that seeks to be born in the world. The images you hold, the scenes you replay, and the feelings you awaken in your mind are the molds through which reality begins to shape itself. Every structure, invention, relationship, or circumstance began first as an imagined idea. Before the external event occurs, the inner scene must be accepted as true. You do not need the physical evidence to start believing. It is the belief, anchored in imagination, that summons the evidence. The world moves to accommodate the convictions held within. What you see with your physical eyes is always a reflection of what you persistently accepted in the unseen realm of thought. Imagination, then, is more than visualization. It is perception beyond the senses. It is the act of entering a state where the desired event is not something hoped for in the future, but something experienced now in consciousness. When you feel yourself to already be the person you wish to become, when you see the world through that new identity's eyes, your reality begins to reassemble itself accordingly. People, circumstances, and even chance begin to align in obedience to that inner assumption. There is no outer change without inner movement. The unseen always precedes the seen. Imagination is the original cause, and the outer world is the delayed effect. If you seek to alter your experience, you must go to the root. And the root is always in the realm of inner vision. To imagine, then, is not to pretend. It is to create. To live from the end is to mentally occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, to move beyond wanting and into being. It is not about waiting for a change to occur in the outer world, but assuming that the change has already taken place within. You are not hoping to become, you are being now. When you live from the end, you are no longer seeking signs, proof, or validation. You are dwelling in the knowing that it is already done. This inner stance is not passive or delusional. It is deeply creative. It shifts your identity from the one who lacks to the one who possesses. Instead of thinking about what you want, you think from it. Your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions begin to reflect the new reality, not the current one. You do not ask, when will it happen? You respond as if it already has. Your inner conversations change. Your mood changes. Your posture in the world changes. The imagined end becomes your new psychological home. Living from the end is not ignoring current facts, but refusing to let them define you. It is recognizing that current conditions are simply echoes of old assumptions. You do not argue with them or try to force them to change. You transcend them. You claim your desire by embodying it now, mentally, emotionally, energetically. You persist in that inner state even when the world has not yet caught up, because you understand that it must. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are instructing it. In this state, desire is no longer separate from fulfillment. You do not need to wait. You do not chase. You align. You feel yourself to be the version of you who already has what they once desired, and the outer world begins to reorganize around that inner truth. You stop trying to manifest something and start expressing it. Everything in your world becomes a reflection of the end you have already claimed as yours. Inner speech is the silent dialogue that runs constantly beneath the surface of awareness. It is the voice you hear in your mind as you interpret the world, judge your experiences, question your worth, and anticipate what comes next. Though it may seem insignificant or automatic, this internal commentary is a powerful creative force. It forms the blueprint from which your outer life is built. Every thought you repeat, every story you tell yourself, is like a command whispered into the fabric of reality. Your inner conversations reveal what you truly believe, not what you claim to want, but what you have accepted as normal, possible, or inevitable. If you are always rehearsing failure, disappointment, rejection, or lack in your inner world, you are sowing seeds for those very outcomes to appear. What you say inwardly becomes the structure that shapes your experience. Inner speech is not just a byproduct of circumstances. It is the author of them. You may think you are reacting to life, but more often you are perpetuating it through what you affirm within. The same situation can be interpreted in limitless ways depending on the inner dialogue running behind it. And that interpretation is what fuels the emotional states that follow, states that magnetize events, people, and outcomes to match them. When inner speech is unconscious, it becomes a loop. You see what you believe, then believe what you see, never realizing that the belief came first. But once it becomes conscious, once you take responsibility for the tone, content, and direction of your inner dialogue, you can begin to rescript your future. You can speak as the one who already has the answer, the love, the success, the peace. You can replace the language of fear with the language of fulfillment. The moment you begin to speak inwardly, from the state you wish to experience outwardly, you begin to move reality in that direction. Your fate is not dictated by external conditions, but by the persistent self-talk that either limits or liberates you. The whisper becomes the world. The unseen thought becomes the seen circumstance. What you continue to say in silence becomes the life you live aloud. Feeling is the bridge between thought and manifestation, the invisible current that charges the unseen with life and compels it into form. It is not the words you speak or the pictures you hold in your mind alone that create your reality, but the emotional atmosphere you dwell in. You may imagine wealth, love, freedom, but unless that image is felt, unless it moves you inwardly, it remains an empty shell with no power to project into the world. Every state of consciousness is accompanied by a distinct feeling, and it is that feeling which becomes the substance of your experience. To feel something as real is to internalize it as truth. It impresses the subconscious mind, not through effort or repetition alone, but through the depth of belief that feeling provides. The subconscious does not respond to logic, it responds to conviction. It responds to what feels alive, immediate, and emotionally real. You cannot pretend your way into change by hollow affirmation. You must enter the state you desire emotionally. If you want to experience joy, you must generate the feeling of joy within, even if there is no external cause for it yet. If you seek abundance, you must feel the ease, the freedom, the security that abundance brings before any number in a bank account changes. This is not deception. It is creation. The outer reflects the inner, and the inner is built of feeling. When you assume a feeling and persist in it, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of consciousness. That feeling becomes the dominant vibration you radiate, and reality shapes itself around it. The world doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you are. And what you are is defined not by your titles or actions, but by the feelings you consistently occupy. To feel something deeply is to become it, and to become it is to make it inevitable. Feeling draws your desire near, not as something to chase, but as something you have already embraced within. There is a quiet order beneath the seeming chaos of life, a precision often mistaken for coincidence. What many call luck is not the favor of chance, but the unfolding of inner law. Events do not occur randomly. They are drawn into experience by the silent assumptions held within. Every outcome, whether welcome or unwelcome, is the echo of an unseen cause. That cause is always rooted in consciousness. There is no external force arbitrarily deciding who succeeds and who struggles. No mysterious fortune selecting one over another. What appears to be luck is merely the external alignment with internal belief. Those who seem lucky are often those who carry an expectation of success, an unshakable belief in possibility, a subconscious assumption that good things happen to them. They are not favored by fate. They are aligned with law. The law responds impersonally, like gravity. It does not care about your desires, only your dominant state. If you persistently feel unworthy, unseen, or unsupported, the law reflects that. If you dwell in confidence, abundance, and fulfillment, the law reflects that too. It is not cruel. It is consistent. It does not respond to pleading or effort alone, but to your inner state, your most honest conviction. What you feel to be true, what you accept as normal, become the mold of your life. Chance is a word used by those who are unaware of their creative power, but the moment you recognize that every event is drawn from a deeper pattern, a pattern you are shaping constantly, you stop blaming luck or cursing fate. You turn inward. You begin to adjust the cause rather than reacting to the effect. You realize that the law is always working through your thoughts, your words, your moods, and that the only thing standing between you and any outcome is the state of being you have yet to assume. What appears miraculous to one is simply law understood by another. It is not a matter of worthiness, luck, or timing. It is a matter of alignment. The moment your inner world shifts, the outer world must respond, not by chance, but by certainty. The lottery, on the surface, appears to be a game of pure chance, a system of numbers, tickets, and odds that dangles the promise of sudden wealth before millions. But beneath the surface, it carries a deeper symbolic meaning. It represents the desire for instant transformation, for effortless abundance, for the miraculous leap from lack to overflow. It is not simply about money. It is about what money signifies: freedom, possibility, release from burden, the ability to live on one's own terms. To many, the lottery becomes a fantasy, a distant hope, a dream wrapped in doubt. But that very dynamic craving something deeply while believing it is unlikely is the essence of most people's relationship with their desires. The lottery reflects the inner split between wanting and believing, between dreaming and receiving. It dramatizes the tension between the wish for change and the disbelief that such change could ever arrive easily. In this way, the lottery becomes more than a game. It becomes a mirror. It exposes the assumptions people hold about effort, worthiness, and destiny. It reveals how much faith or fear one has around the idea of receiving. Most who play do not expect to win. They hope, they fantasize, but they don't inwardly claim it. And so the game often becomes a ritual of confirming powerlessness rather than awakening it. Seen symbolically, the lottery invites a question. Do you believe you must struggle and earn every good thing in life? Or do you accept that something can come to you effortlessly just because you are aligned with it? It challenges you to confront your assumptions about wealth, value, and the nature of reality itself. It offers a stage where your inner state plays out through numbers and chance. But what it truly tests is not luck, but belief. To approach the lottery as a symbol is to see it not as an external event, but as an invitation to embody a state of abundance now, before the result. It is a prompt to imagine beyond circumstance, to feel worthy without justification, and to allow the impossible to feel ordinary. Whether one ever wins or not, the true prize is learning to live in the energy of already having. The moment before an action is often overlooked, but it is in that pause, silent and invisible, where the true creation begins. A silent declaration, spoken inwardly with conviction, is far more than a fleeting thought. It is a seed planted in the soil of consciousness. Though no one hears it, though no change may be visible on the outside, that quiet inner statement sets the tone for what follows. It is the moment when reality is claimed, not by force, but by assumption. This inner speech does not need to be loud or dramatic. Its power lies not in volume, but in certainty. When you say within yourself, "This is already mine," or "I am now the one who has it," you are not merely affirming a wish, you are initiating a creative process. The subconscious does not need a shout to listen. It responds to repetition, to feeling, to quiet conviction. The declaration becomes a blueprint, and everything after, the action, the result, the outer circumstance, emerges from it. Just as a seed disappears into the ground before it ever breaks the surface, the silent declaration often goes unnoticed by the rational mind. There may be no immediate sign that something has shifted, but beneath the surface, unseen forces begin to move. The outer world, which seems so solid and fixed, is far more responsive than it appears. It bends to the pattern impressed upon it by inner belief, and belief is most powerfully expressed in that brief moment of decision, when you silently declare what is so. This is the space between thought and manifestation, the hinge between the old and the new. It is the sacred instant where you either reinforce doubt or claim truth. The quality of this inner speech, its tone, its certainty, its emotional resonance, determines what unfolds. You may take an action 1,000 times and get no result if the inner speech behind it contradicts your desire. But one single moment of aligned declaration, felt and believed, can redirect the course of everything. The seed does not sprout instantly, but once it is planted, the process has begun. And just like the natural world, the soil of consciousness yields according to the nature of the seed and the belief with which it was sown. Assumption is not merely a passing thought or a wishful fantasy. It is the very fabric through which reality is woven. When you assume something to be true, whether it is a belief about yourself, your circumstances, or your potential, you are planting a seed that must take root in the soil of your consciousness. This assumption, once made, begins to solidify into fact, shaping the events of your life with an almost mechanical certainty. What you assume with emotion and conviction begins to form the structure of your outer experience. The mind is not passive. It is a powerful creative force. When you assume success, love, abundance, or any other desired state, that assumption is felt as real, even if the current circumstances contradict it. The universe does not question the validity of your assumption. It merely responds to the belief you impress upon it. shaping your experiences to reflect that belief. The outer world, though seemingly vast and unchangeable, is in truth a mirror of the inner. The assumptions you hold about yourself and your life, whether conscious or unconscious, dictate how you move through the world, how others perceive you, and what opportunities you attract. These assumptions do not have to be grand or overt. A simple, quiet assumption held with persistence can begin to alter the course of your reality. It is not a matter of wishing for things to change or hoping for a miracle. It is about assuming the reality you desire now, feeling it as though it is already here, and aligning your thoughts, actions, and energy with that truth. What you assume today begins to harden into the facts of tomorrow. And so, the world around you slowly shifts to reflect your internal world. Time, in the conventional sense, seems like an unstoppable force, marching forward regardless of human will. But time itself is not as rigid as it appears. It is elastic, malleable, and responsive to the nature of your beliefs. When you align your inner reality with a desire or outcome, time adjusts to accommodate that alignment. What may feel like a long wait is often the result of an internal conflict between your desire and your belief about its arrival. By the moment your belief is firm, unwavering, and certain, time begins to conform to that belief. Compressing or expanding is needed to bring your assumptions into full view. The perception of time's passage is deeply tied to what you expect to happen within it. When you believe that something is just around the corner, time bends to that belief, causing events to unfold with an immediacy that surprises you. Conversely, when doubt creeps in, or when you carry the assumption that your desire is far off, time stretches, seeming to drag on with no progress. What you believe about the nature of time, the urgency, the wait, the delay, is the lens through which you experience its flow. Understanding that you are the operant power means that you no longer wait for things to happen to you or for someone else to change in order for your life to improve. You begin to recognize that every thought, every belief, and every assumption you hold is a tool for shaping your experience. The power lies in your hands, in the choices you make about how you think, feel, and perceive the world. You are not a victim of circumstance, but the creator of it. Your thoughts and feelings are the forces that shape your destiny. And once you understand this, you realize that there is no limit to what you can achieve. So when you stand there, ticket in hand, remember, it is not about the numbers, the odds, or even the win. It's about who you are being in that moment. You are not just a participant in a game of chance. You are the author of your own outcome. What you imagine, what you feel, what you silently declare. These are not passive thoughts. They are the creative acts that shape your world. Imagination creates reality. Live from the end. Let your inner speech reflect the truth you wish to see. Feel it as real. Trust that there is no luck, only law. Understand that the lottery is not the source of your abundance. It is a symbol of the abundance already within you. And before any step is taken, speak your truth in silence, because that quiet moment is the birthplace of miracles. Thank you for listening. Thank you for daring to believe. And thank you for remembering that the greatest power is not in the ticket, but in you.